Yo, what is up, guys? My name is Nicholas Earl, and welcome back to another episode of Earl Sports Bets. And today, today, 12:55 a.m. is the first day, full day of college basketball, March Madness. We get the first round, 16 matchups, and we're going to be going over all 16 games. And I'll be giving out picks for all 67 games during March Madness, so you guys can have action on any game you want to have action on. So I'm going to be giving picks for every single game. But before we get into the video, before we go over the recap of what happened yesterday, you guys know what to do. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And you can turn on post notifications to get notified each and every time we come out of a video here at Earl Sports Bets. You can also follow us on our social medias at BetsEarl on Twitter, at Earl Sports Bets on Instagram. We also have a Discord link if you guys want to join that. The link to that will be in the description of the video down below. And as always, leave your best bet for March Madness, round number one, day number one, in the comments section below. All right, quick recap of what happened today. It was the first four games, playing games basically. We started off really well, back-to-back wins. Texas Southern covering the +1 easily as they win by 8 points over Mount St. Mary's. Wichita State loses on a buzzer beater but covers that +2. So if you guys had Wichita State +2, that cashes as well. And then our night went bad from there. App State loses on a buzzer beater. They missed the shot at the end of the trying to beat the buzzer. They lose the game. And then Michigan State just fell to UCLA like 10 minutes ago. So we went 2-2. So far, we're now 2-2 in March Madness. This will be out of 67 games eventually. But let's get into the slate here. We got 16 games we're going to be going over. The only games we're not going over are Buffalo, Colorado State, and Louisiana Tech and Mississippi because, plain and simply, those are NIT games. But let's get it started here. Virginia Tech taking on Florida. Number 7, Florida versus number 10, Virginia Tech. It is a pick'em. Virginia Tech comes into this game 15-6, 9-4 in the ACC. They fell to North Carolina in the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament. They lost their last game there. Florida coming in 14-9, 9-7 in the SEC, coming in on a one-game losing streak as well. They fell to Tennessee in the SEC quarterfinal. Looking at this game, the only side I really want is we're going to go with the Gators here. I have them winning by 3.6 points. So we're taking them on the pick'em, -110. Florida Gators, -110 to advance to the next round, where they will play the winner of, this is Florida and Virginia Tech. They'll play the winner of Ohio State and Oral Roberts. Next game we have Colgate Raiders taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks. 8.5-point spread, -430 for Arkansas, +350 for Colgate. Colgate coming into this 14-1, 11-1 in Patriot League play, coming in on a 13-game winning streak. They knocked off Loyola, Maryland in the Patriot League finals to get to this spot. They will be taking on Arkansas, which finished 22-6, 13-4 in SEC play. And they lost in their last game in the semifinal versus LSU in the SEC tournament. And looking at this game, I feel like this is going to be just a game where Arkansas runs away with this game. We're going to go with Arkansas at -8.5. I have them winning by 12.7 points, so 4.2 points of value on that line. Next, we have Drexel taking on Illinois. It is going to be a 22.5-point spread. -3,500 for Illinois, +1,750 for Drexel. And looking at this game, Drexel coming in 12-7, 4-5 in the Colonial play. They knocked off Elon in the Colonial finals to make it as a 16 seed in this tournament. Illinois coming in playing really well, 23-6, 16-4 in the Big Ten Conference this year. They knocked off Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship to earn the number 1 seed, but they would have earned it even if they lost in that game. And looking at this game, one thing I really want to look at more with these games is looking at the 16 seeds plus the points. Now, I have a feeling Drexel is obviously going to lose this game, but I feel like it's not going to be a 23-plus point game. I feel like these lines are usually widened a little bit when it comes to 16 versus 1 because a lot of people want to bet the number 1 seed. So we're going to be taking Drexel here plus 22.5 versus Illinois tomorrow. And I no money line, just the plus 22.5. Next, we have Utah State taking on Texas Tech, number 6. Texas Tech versus number 11, Utah State. It's a 4-point spread, minus 185 for Texas Tech, plus 165 for Utah State. And looking at this game, Utah State coming in 20-8. They went 15-4 in Mountain West Conference play this year. They fell to San Diego State in the Mountain West Finals. They are on a 1-game losing streak heading into this. Texas Tech coming in 17-10, 9-8 in Big 12 play, back-to-back losses to end the year, and they lost to Texas in the Big 12 quarterfinals. But for this game, I feel like Texas Tech is the better team. We're going to be going here with the Red Raiders minus the 4 points. I have them a 7.2-point win, so the value is there. Next, we have Oral Roberts taking on Ohio State. 16-point spread for this game, minus 2,100 for Ohio State, plus 850 for Oral Roberts. And Oral Roberts coming in 16-10, 10-5 in Summit League play. They knocked off North Dakota State. Wow, I can't read. It is late. In the Summit League finals, Ohio State coming in 21-9. They went 12-8 in Big Ten play. They coming in off of a loss in the Big Ten championship versus Illinois. And for this game, it's another one where we're going to be just taking a bunch of points here. On these big spreads, most likely we're going to be taking the plus points because it's a survive and advance. And some games they're just going to play just to advance. And I think Ohio State gets the win, obviously, but I think Oral Roberts keeps it within that 16-point range. All right. Our next game, we have number 16, Hartford. The Hawks take on the number 1 Baylor Bears. 25.5-point spread, minus 3,400 for Baylor, plus 1650 for Hartford. Hartford coming in 15-8, 8-6 in the American East. They knocked off UMass Lowell in the American East Finals to earn this spot. If you're wondering, the American East, that's where UMBC came from. They upset Virginia. I'm not saying that Hartford's going to do that, but just putting that out there. Baylor coming in 22-2, 13-1 in the Big 12, and they're coming off of a loss to Oklahoma State in the Big 12 semifinals. But I don't feel like that's a big deal for Baylor because they didn't really need to do much in that tournament in order to really get their number 1 seed. We're going with Hartford, though. 25.5 is a lot of points, and I feel like they can keep it within 25.5 points. I don't think that's asking too much of the Hartford Hawks here. I think that they can get it done, and they can keep it close enough. They're obviously not going to win, hence the minus 3,400, but give me Hartford here at plus 25.5 points. Next, we have Georgia Tech taking on Loyola Chicago, 5.5-point spread, minus 240 for Loyola Chicago, plus 200 for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech coming in 17-8. They went 11-6 in the ACC this year. They're coming in on an 8-game win streak, so they're looking very good coming in here. They knocked off Florida State in the ACC championship game. On the other side here, Loyola Chicago, 24-4 so far during the season. 16-2 in Missouri Valley Conference play, and they knocked off Drake to make in the finals to before the tournament here and get their 8 seed. I feel like they're extremely underranked. I think they should have been a 5-6 maybe ranked team, not an 8 ranked. They got shafted big time. We're going to go with them to win tomorrow. I have them winning by 11 points for tomorrow's game. So I like Loyola Chicago to get the win versus Georgia Tech tomorrow and advance to play Illinois. Next, we have Oregon State taking on Tennessee. 8.5-point spread, minus 450 for Tennessee, plus 360 for Oregon State. And looking at this game, Oregon State coming in 17-12, 10-10 in the Pac-12. They're coming in on a 3-game win streak. They knocked off Colorado in the Pac-12 championship to make it to this game. Tennessee coming in 18-8, 10-7 in the SEC. and they're coming off of a loss against Alabama in the semifinal game for the SEC. But for this game, we're going with Tennessee minus 8.5. I have them winning by 12.3 points. So we're going with the Volunteers to get the job done and take care of business versus Oregon State. I feel like Oregon State's miracle run ends tomorrow against the Volunteers. Which brings us to our next game. We have Oklahoma State versus Liberty. It's a 7.5 point spread, minus 385 for Oklahoma State, plus 315 for Liberty. And looking at this game, Oklahoma State 20-8 on the season, 11-7 coming in the Big 12 conference. They lost to Texas in the Big 12 championship coming in before this game. Liberty coming in 23-5 on a 12-game win streak. They went 11-2 in the ASUN conference. They knocked off North Alabama in the ASUN finals to make it to the tournament. And for this one, we're going to go with the favorite once again. We're going to go with Oklahoma State minus 7.5. I feel like this should be a game they just run through Liberty. I have them winning by 10.9 points, and I think they'll get the win and advance to play Tennessee in the next round. Next, we got probably one of my favorite games of this of today. It's going to be a good game between these two teams. We have North Carolina and Wisconsin. It's a 1.5 point spread, minus 118 for North Carolina, minus 102 for Wisconsin. North Carolina coming in 18-10, 10-6 in the ACC. They lost to Florida State in the ACC semifinal game. Heading in before this, Wisconsin coming in 17-12, 10-10 in the Big 12, and they're coming off of a quarterfinal loss versus Iowa in the Big 10 tournament. And for this game, we're going to be going with North Carolina at the minus 1.5 line. I think they can get the win, and they'll advance to play Baylor in the next round. Next, we have Cleveland State taking on Houston at 19.5 point spread, minus 3,200 for Houston, plus 1450 run back for this Cleveland State team. And looking at this game, Cleveland State coming in 19-7, 16-4 in Horizon League play. They knocked off Oakland in the Horizon League finals to advance to the tournament here. Houston coming in 24-3. They went 14-3 in American Athletic Conference play. They knocked off Cincinnati in the AAC finals. And looking at this game, it's another one where we're going to just take the points. I definitely think Houston could get the win by more than 20, but I feel like the value is on the plus 19.5 here. I have this being a 13.5 point game, so we're leading a decent value on Cleveland State here. I think the Vikings can cover the plus 19.5, but I don't think they win this game at all. Next, we have North Texas, the Mean Green, taking on the Purdue Boilermakers. 7.5 point spread here, minus 310 for Purdue, plus 260 for North Texas. And North Texas coming in at 17-9, 9-5 in Conference USA play. On a 4-game win streak, they knocked off Western Kentucky in Conference USA finals to punch their ticket to March Madness. Purdue coming in 18-9, 13-6 in the Big Ten, coming off of a loss in the quarterfinals versus Ohio State. And looking at this game, I think this is my lowest valued game of the day. We have Purdue winning by 8.8 points. So we're getting around 1.3 points of value on Purdue here. I think they get the win, and they will advance to the next round to play the winner of Winthrop and Villanova, which that should be a fun game as well. So we're going with Purdue minus 7.5 versus North Texas. Next, we have Rutgers taking on Clemson. It's a 1.5 point spread, and the 7 seed Clemson is the underdog in this matchup. Rutgers coming in 15-11. They were 10-10 in the Big Ten Conference, coming off of a quarterfinal loss versus Illinois. Clemson coming in 16-7. They were 10-6 in the ACC, and they lost to Miami in the second round of the ACC tournament. They didn't look good in that tournament at all. But I feel like this plus price tag and this dog points plus 1.5 and the plus 107. I really like for Clemson. I think that they're the better team. Rutgers was very disappointing towards the end of the year, and I think so is Clemson, but I think Clemson gets the win here, but they don't last much further after that, as Clemson would have to play Houston in the next round, and I think that's going to be a blowout. Next, we have Syracuse taking on San Diego State. 3-point spread, minus 155 for the Aztecs, plus 135 for the Orange. Syracuse coming into this game 16-9. They were 9-7 in the ACC, coming off of a loss versus Virginia in the ACC quarterfinals, where they gave Virginia absolutely everything they had, and just came up barely short, a buzzer beater short. And San Diego State coming in 23-4. They're 14-3 in the Mountain West Conference. They coming in on a 14-game win streak. They knocked off Utah State in the Mountain West Finals, and we're going to be going with San Diego State here. I feel like this would be a very challenging matchup for San Diego State versus that Syracuse zone, but give them a week to prepare for it. I think that they'll be able to handle it okay. And I think they get the win here. And I think they advance multiple rounds, potentially, San Diego State, because I'm not hugely confident on this West Virginia team. Which brings us to our next game, Morehead State taking on West Virginia, 13-point spread, minus 1,000 for West Virginia, plus 660 for Morehead State. Morehead State coming in 23-7, 17-3 in the Ohio Valley Conference. They knocked off Belmont to steal their bid from the Ohio Valley Conference. And West Virginia coming in 18-9. They're 11-6 in the Big 12 this season, coming in on back-to-back losses versus Oklahoma State, including the matchup in the quarterfinals with Oklahoma State. And we're going with Morehead State plus 13 points here. I think that this game is going to be a close game. 13, I think, is way too many points. And honestly, upset alert potentially. Plus 660 is not a bad price for Morehead here. They're coming in playing really well. And I think they're going to give West Virginia a run for their money. Which brings us to our last game of the night. And this is going to be a very interesting one because this is one where I'm going to be taking the plus points, but I feel like Villanova wins this game. I feel like this is just going to be a close game. Yes, I understand Winthrop is the dog that everybody is on right now. Winthrop coming in 23-1, 17-1 in the Big South Conference. They knocked off Campbell in the Big South Finals to punch their ticket here to play Villanova in the March Madness bracket. Villanova coming in 16-6. They're 11-4 in the Big East, and they lost to Georgetown in the Big East Finals in their last game. I like Winthrop here plus 6.5, but I like Villanova to win the game straight up. So I have Villanova winning this game by 2.5 points. So Villanova is still a team I have in my bracket, but I think Winthrop covers the plus 6.5 points in this game. So we're going to be taking them plus 6.5 versus Villanova tomorrow or later today. All right, let's quickly go over our plays for today, and then we're going to head on out for this video as it's probably long enough for this video. We're going with Florida Pick'em versus Virginia Tech. We have Arkansas minus 8.5 versus Colgate. We have Drexel plus 22.5 versus Illinois. We have Texas Tech minus 4 versus Utah State. We're going with Oral Roberts plus 16 versus Ohio State. We're going with Hartford plus 25.5 versus Baylor. We're going Loyola Chicago minus 5.5 versus Georgia Tech. We have Tennessee minus 8.5 versus Oregon State. We have Oklahoma State minus 7.5 versus Liberty. UNC knocks off Wisconsin minus 1.5, covers that. Cleveland State covers the plus 19.5 versus Houston. We're going with Purdue minus 7.5 versus North Texas. We're going with Clemson here plus 1.5 versus Rutgers. We're going with San Diego State minus 3 versus Syracuse. We're going Morehead State plus 13 versus West Virginia. And we're going Winthrop plus 6.5 versus the Villanova Wildcats. If this information was helpful to you guys at all, feel free to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't already. And turn on post notifications so you guys are notified each and every time we come out with a video here at All Sports Bets. As I told you in the beginning of the video, we're going to be giving out picks to every single March Madness game. So stay tuned. We're going to have another 16-game slate tomorrow, and then 8 and 8, and then it gets a little bit more reasonable each of those days. But that's going to just about do it for this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.